Alright, shh. Days in the sun. Chaos of the crown, cannon thick. Summary. After the prince and knight, I sneak off to see a friend and a fugitive. They seem to get into a little trouble with the king.
Notes is just pretty much, hey, this is canon. It takes place after my last lore and before the prison lore. And Kit helped
trigger
me
warning.
write it.
Actually, kind of goes after it as well in a certain
Yeah,
part.
that was...
So-
Trigger warning.
Yeah, trigger warnings. I should have
trigger warning.
probably added them. I forget all of the trigger warnings.
Panic attack.
Manipulation.
attack.
Oh, Bispy.
Manipulation. Threatening.
Me when Chad no eyes.
Me
I
then.
really like Chad no eyes for no reason in particular.
Ruby made it.
What else? What other trigger warnings are in our thing?
Panic attack. Was there
Slight
yelling?
physical violence?
Um,
Threats, more like.
yeah, like threats. It's not like physical violence.
Or just
What is it called? Like verbal, like
verbal
oh my God, I
abuse.
don't know. I guess.
So I have
Oh.
panic attacks, threats, and verbal abuse. What else should I put? Because I have no idea, and I could not keep track.
I don't know. This picks just the
Voices.
definition of hurt, comfort, hurt.
Hurt.
So, actually, it's comfort, hurt. That's how it goes.
So I'm just
Why are
going
you-
to...
Okay, real quick, Kit, why are you putting math into fic tags?
Wait, no, wrong thing.
What? I didn't put math in fic tags.
Yes, you did.
You did.
For where?
What?
With
What?
it's not hurt comfort, it's hurt comfort. That's math.
It's
It's
math.
not math. It's
Girl
just
math.
sequences.
No,
Girl
it's
math.
It's not.
Okay, Kit,
Listen. Okay, let's
I'm gonna get into reading now.
spend 15
No,
minutes
you're
with
not.
these started straight.
It's been 13, actually. For you.
Shush. Well, alright.
Kitrina and Icarus waved goodbye to Embers, giggling at silly jokes that were made as the two people of the kingdom walked back along all too familiar path back to the castle. If you asked either what was going to happen next, neither would have guessed what would go down. Kitrina walked with a little skip in her step, while Icarus limped, trying to keep up with his favorite knight. The child decided to start humming a tune, though he didn't know where he heard it from. Kitrina listened as the prince sung most of the song, joining in at the end, as she knew the lyrics. It was a song the prince would often sing through the halls when he thought no one could hear him, unaware of how each hall echoed. Hold on. As in years to come, you'll wander to the place up on our hill. And then you'll cry to our painted sky, I loved him then, I love him still. And you'll strew some sage and lilies and roses where I rot. And of all the flowers you picked, I knew you would forget me not. The two sang in unison, Kitrina taking the high harmony. The female soldier had always thought the song was a little dark for a child of Icarus's age, though she never spoke on it, as it seemed to comfort him. It is a good song, chat, it is.
It is.
So,
If you watch the VOD, I sing the higher part.
Soon enough after the short walk, the two found themselves entering the castle, stepping into the throne room. Despite the blue beginning to fade from his skin, Icarus couldn't help but panic a little upon seeing it continuing to spread throughout the room. The plant started becoming more of a trigger for memories of hurting the people he loves. He planned to get out of the room as fast as humanly possible, but the king, however, had other plans. Hold on.
Huh?
Oh?
Can you hear the background?
Yes, I can hear
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah. I'm gonna cut this short part out of the VOD.
It's okay.
No, keep it and out of spite.
No.
Slash
Oh my
J.
god. The
Bispy.
cracks are coming off.
Rupee! Anyway, Bispy glided through the doorway, his cape billowing out behind him with a triumphant smile plastered across his face. The smile contrasted his eyes, a rage burning behind them that scared the two entering the home.
Oh, hello, my son.
Bispy spoke firmly with a bit of venom dripping from his words.
Kitrina.
The man said flatly, finally noticing the underappreciated knight standing beside the feathered child. Kitrina gave a half-hearted smile, trying desperately to hide her fear and paranoia from both the king and the prince.
Yes. Good morning, my king.
The poor girl muttered, stiffening her muscles as she spoke. Icarus, however, quickly noticed how the woman's demeanor changed, the child watching his father glare at the knight for a moment too long.
Welcome home. I see you are finally following my orders. Took you long enough.
Bispy practically spat the words at Kitrina. The knight lowered her head, mumbling a quick apology, and looked back at Icarus with pleading eyes. One second.
Oh, good. Stalling. Hey. I'm evil, bitch.
If I had my camera on right now, I would be acting.
Oh gosh!
Nice.
If only they could see me. I'm like
If
fake
only they could
acting.
see me.
I'm
Me
like
too.
slouched over in my chair and like up to the mic, and I'm just like.
I can't get wrapped around myself like I'm.
I'm getting gay rights right now.
Gay rights, poggers.
Hey, welcome back.
Hi.
Where am I in this?
The child
meeting?
got the hint, stepping forward and speaking up. So, Dad, you got anything going on? He questioned as he walked out of the throne room, leading the group upstairs to the library. The king thought first. Hydrate, okay, cool. Yeah?
Guys, I got a quesadilla.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hydrating with a quesadilla.
That's not how that works.
With what?
It's not.
Anyway, welcome back, Apollo.
Hi. The king.
Are we good?
Yeah, the king thought for a second, mulling over the words in his head before deciding to ignore the obvious subject change completely.
Where were you two earlier today? I couldn't find either one of you when I looked.
Hey, Bispy, can you popcorn read for a little bit?
Oh, totally! Bispy asked, looking
Oh,
up
no.
at Kitrina with a knowing glance as they climbed the stairs.
Oh, we were.
Kitrina stuttered out, trying to remember the excuse they came up with.
I showed her the treehouse.
Icarus quickly chimed in, cutting the lady off as she dug herself into a hole. The treehouse. I see, the inborn said in a mocking, monotone voice as they reached the top of the library. And did Kitrina check for potential dangers? Like those nether people coming back? Netherborns are such a strong yet unpredictable group of people. I forgot to edit that. Like the former queen. What was her name again? If my memory is correct, which it normally is, her name was Scarlet, right, Kitrina? Kitrina tried to speak, but quickly got cut off by the corrupted king, speaking up again.
Oh, it's such a shame you and Leander lost her so soon, after you both saw her as a mother figure. I guess she couldn't even protect her own child from a simple citizen. The king laughed at Kitrina's sadness and turned around to pull a book off of a shelf, opening it as Icarus turned around, flashing the pages at Kitrina before closing it and sliding it back into its spot. Casey's messy handwriting could be seen for a second scribbled across the page, the letter he wrote to Kitrina asking to meet her. Kitrina stiffened again as the king smiled, turning to see what his son had grabbed. The child was holding an old fairy tale book Bispy had been given years ago. The child was enchanted by the book, already finished the first few pages. As Bispy tried to pull it away, the child snapped it shut and held it to his chest. Come on, kiddo, what are you doing? You know I said not to touch my books without explicit permission. Give me the book, and you can read your bee book. Don't you just love the bee book? Icarus looked around nervous and rocked a bit uncomfortable.
I mean, yeah, but this book seems cool, and the bee book has been my favorite for, 5 years now? Can I have a new one?
Bispy turned the question in his head for a moment. Fine, you may borrow the book, but do not cause a single bit of damage to it. He stopped. The king took notice of a bracelet on his son's wrist, made from moon daisies and amethyst shards, carefully woven like the weaving on a certain flower crown he had once made. Icarus, the king spoke slowly, their voice a stark contrast from their normal fatherly tone, as they straightened their back out a bit to appear taller than the king already was. What is that thing on your wrist? And where did you get it? You didn't have that when I last saw you. Icarus froze and mumbled something under their breath. The king didn't like this at all. His beloved son was hiding something, and he wanted answers immediately. What is it? Blah. Does that say Icarus? I
Yeah,
can't read
Icarus.
it.
It says Icarus.
Ender.
I figured, but I didn't want to say it and be wrong.
Just say it
Icarus,
really
like an
strongly.
Enderman.
Just say it really.
Icarus!
Like,
There you go. The last word spoken in broken Ender tongue that Icarus almost didn't catch, sounding more like sounds than words. Particles now starting to gather at the king's feet.
Embers made it for me.
Icarus blurted out on the verge of tears. He knew he was in trouble. He knew he fucked up. But he dug Kitrina into it too. Damn, if that didn't hurt. Bispy's eyes widened at the name. His face went through several different emotions. Sadness, betrayal, confusion. But the most prominent was anger. Seething, unbridled anger. But to Icarus' surprise, they didn't look at him. Instead, the king turned to Kitrina, his hands curled into fists, his knuckles going more like pale instead of white.
yeah.
I can fix that later.
You're good. You did what? He spat through his teeth, sucking in air between each word. Particles now swarming around the angered end. Kitrina opened her mouth to respond, but couldn't even get a word out before Bispy had reached his hand out forcefully grabbing the collar of her shirt. With little time to think and no plan, Icarus screamed out.
Kitrina wasn't there.
Bispy stopped and looked at his son, letting his hand fall back down to his side. Oh? Then what, pray tell, possessed you to think it was okay to see that fugitive again? Icarus took a shaky breath in, and motioned for Kitrina to leave, and she slithered out of the room, sneaking behind the seething king.
Well, you see, I wanted to go see Embers one last time, say goodbye, and, so I convinced Avery to take me, and we went over to Embers, and Kitrina was on patrol and watched us go over. She saw Embers, and she chased Embers down, but Embers has wings and got away. I begged Kitrina not to tell you because I didn't want either of us to get in trouble again.
Icarus stumbled over their words, trying to come up with a proper excuse. The king grabbed Icarus's wrist and ripped the bracelet off of him. His grip was strong enough to hold the child, but not to hurt him. After the bracelet was off of the little prince, Bispy snapped it, so that nothing of it could. I need to go run some errands. But I do have to do this first. Icarus, you are hereby grounded. Go to your room. You are not allowed to leave this castle, nor are you allowed near Avery for the foreseeable future, the king mumbled while throwing away the shards that remained of the jewelry. Icarus watched the bracelet disappear with tears in his eyes. Slowly, he got up from where he was sitting, his head lowered, staring at the floor.
I understand.
He squeaked out as shivers ran down his spine. He started down the staircase of the library, then down to his bedroom. He flopped onto his bed and began to cry.
I can take over from here again.
You got it.
Slay.
Slay.
One of the voices appeared next to him, their purple and black colors dulled by the tears. Icarus reached to cling to them, but they vanished from sight. Icarus let out a sob, even though he could still feel their presence.
Are you alright?
The small voice whispered through the room. Icarus didn't respond for a second before rolling over and staring at the ceiling. No. The small voice rang again.
That was mean. Your dad is being mean.
The small voice being floated around the room. Unable to be seen, Icarus giggled slightly and sat up, rubbing tears from his eyes. Yeah, a little bit, huh? Icarus whispered softly as he stared at the spore blossoms. He smiled when he heard the docile voice giggle and the figure appear in front of him. Kit, can you take over narrator?
Okay, Slay. Icarus was scared, yes. He had people who would protect him. Icarus started to sing again. Do you want me to sing, bestie?
No, I got it.
Okay.
I have the song pulled up. It'll take a second to get to the words.
Okay, Slay.
Setting pen to paper again. Lost my sense of home from the words that I've said. But the thoughts have begun to ferment in my head, and content manifest don't feel good enough for them, so I try and transcend my ego, but we know it will never work. Maybe I'll just descend to dirt, flirt with becoming food for worms. Does anyone listen to this? The ramblings of a lunatic. Mind is playing awful trick. The ramblings of a lunatic. Would anyone listen to this? I'm running from my emptiness. My brain is tired, my stomach sick. The ramblings of a lunatic.
Meanwhile, Kitrina sprinted down the staircase with her heart hammering in her chest, nearly tripping as she reached the bottom. Crap, 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 she thought as she continued barreling towards the night's wing of the castle. I should have stopped Icarus from going to Embers in the first place. I'm so stupid for thinking he wouldn't find out. Shit. She threw open the doors to the guard's room. Avery, Leander, are either of you in here? Avery poked their head out of their room door, a worried look on his face. I'm here. What's wrong, Kitrina? I was guarding Icarus, and he led me over to Ember's place, and I led him like an idiot, and Bispy found out, and now... Kitrina bent over, placing her hands on her knees, desperately trying to catch her breath. Avery stepped out of his room, moving to place a gentle hand on her shoulder. Kitrina flinched away and instinctively pushed Avery's hand away. instantly regretting it. Sorry, she looked at Avery as if she was about to burst into tears. I don't know why I did that. I don't know what to do. She took Avery's hand. Hello? She took Avery's hands in hers. Icarus blamed you. I don't know why, and I don't know how much time we have before Bispy gets down here, but I need you to know that I'm so sorry about this. You don't have to take the blame. I know you're already on thin ice with him. Avery softly traced circles with their thumbs onto Kitrina's knuckles, trying to calm her down a little. Aren't you also in a bit of hot water with the king at the moment? Kitrina's eyes widened. You're right. Oh my god, something really, really bad's gonna happen if he finds out that I messed up. She slowly looked up at Avery. Avery, what if he kills Casey? I don't think he's gonna do that, Kitrina, or Kit. But we don't know that. Leander and I wouldn't allow it to happen. We've got you, okay? Okay. Kitrina took a couple shuddering breaths before slowly sinking to the floor and hugging her knees to her chest. I think I just need to breathe for a minute. That's all right. Here, let me get you some water. Avery grabbed a water bottle from the room and gave it to Kitrina, who drank from it in small sips. Her memory was interrupted, however, when the door to the guards' quarters slammed against the wall. The two knights jumped and glanced over to the two knights jumped and glanced over to where Bispy's towering figure was standing on the threshold, with his arms crossed.
What's going on in here?
His eyes flicked over to where Kitrina was hastily screwing the cap back on her water bottle, and shakily rose to her feet.
Please, do try to pull yourself together, Kitrina.
He locked eyes with Avery.
You, on the other hand, have some explaining to do. What on earth possessed you to allow my son to visit that fugitive after I specifically told you not to?
Kitrina and Avery exchanged a small glance. Kitrina opened her mouth to speak, but Avery replied before she could. It was a mistake, Your Majesty, Your Highness. I didn't realize that Icarus was even going to see Embers until it was too late. I don't like Icarus being around them almost as much as you do, so I understand your frustration.
I see. Kitrina?
Bispy turned their attention to the young knight, who looked up from fiddling with her friendship bracelet on her wrist.
Icarus told me that you intervened when you saw Embers with them. Is that correct?
Yes. Kitrina took a small step forward and took out the small rocket Embers had given her from her satchel. They dropped this as they flew away. I'm sorry I wasn't able to capture them. Bispy took the rocket and examined it closely.
Well, this is definitely one of her rockets.
He narrowed his eyes at Kitrina.
Did you happen to see which direction they flew off in?
I think they went in the direction of the mountains behind the castle. They could have circled around and went off in a different direction, though. I'm not sure. It was more focused on getting Icarus back to the castle.
Hydrate.
Oh, Bispy hummed a little.
I was about to say my line, bro!
Sorry, Bispy.
Okay, good.
How can I hydrate when I'm lining?
I know.
Hey, yo.
But, bro. I suppose they could have. And I do appreciate the motivation you've been showing lately. The only thing that confuses me is why you would lie to me. Why not tell me what happened as soon as you got back, I understand my son not wanting to get in trouble, but I thought we were friends, Kitrina. Friends don't lie to each other.
I wasn't lying to you, I swear. The prince spoke before I could, and I didn't want to undermine him outright. I was planning on telling you later. Bispy nodded slightly.
Good answer.
Bispy glanced at Avery again.
Despite both of your displays of loyalty today, I still cannot trust you, Avery.
Bispy moved past Kitrina and pointed a finger at Avery's chest.
You are hereby forbidden to be around my son, unless I specifically order otherwise. He is currently grounded, and I and will be confined to the castle. So, your nightly duties for the foreseeable future will be outside of the castle. Do I make myself clear?
Avery stared up into the king's eyes. Yes, I understand perfectly. Bispy looked Avery up and down before turning to exit the rooms.
Good. I am glad to hear it.
OMG. You run, I lose my place.
Slay.
I keep losing my place.
Oh, here we go. um, will do, Your Highness. Kitrina responded quietly.
Well, you skipped so many lines.
I did?
Where did
was
you
I?
go?
I'm sorry.
At the door. I'm not done with
Where
my
were you?
dialogue yet, Homer.
Where were you? Wait. Sorry, I had to cough for a second and I looked back at my
How
screen.
dare you cough?
You were a
So
whole
sorry.
paragraph away.
Oh my god.
Real quick. The title of the stream is Chaos of the Crow.
It'll be
It's
fixed
fine.
later.
It's fine. Okay. Wait, where was?
I
He
paused.
paused at the
door.
door.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Slay. He paused at the door.
Oh. And Kitrina, pass the word on to Leander that you and him will now be guarding Icarus closely to make sure he doesn't leave the castle.
Will do, Your Highness. Kitrina responded quietly. Bro. The two knights waited a couple minutes before
Hold
speaking
on.
again.
I wanted to ask if Valk, do you want to take a turn narrating for this part?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
do I-
concrete.
do I
Let me
know?
scroll down to
Yeah,
my tab.
Okay, it's yeah.
Teen Cause, thank you for not correcting me, but it's a little bit funny. Also, Lily.
Fuck you, I
yes.
corrected your ass. L.
Chaos of the Crown,
Oh my
but they're all
goodness.
birds. Katrina finally gets to fly.
my
Maybe now they can catch
I get to
embers.
fly! Finally!
Catch these hands.
Yay, I'm not the only one who can
Also,
fly anymore.
Lily?
Yippee.
Lily,
What about
you
me?
say that, but I will just go ham with birds and make an AU of that.
No, oh my
Watch
god,
me.
we have so
That's
many
what I'm doing
AUs,
after the
chat.
stream if I don't go to bed. Anyways,
so
we're
many.
at the two knights, right?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
The two knights waited a couple minutes before speaking again, just to make sure that the king had actually left. Well, that definitely could have gone worse, Avery said as they began moving about the room, preparing for evening patrol. Kitrina remained standing in the middle of the room, wrapping her arms around herself.
Yeah, I guess so.
She took a deep breath.
Hey, Avery, I know this is a little random, but do you remember anything about the old court?
Avery slid his sword into his...
It's okay.
Avery slid his sword into its sheath at his hip. I can't say I know much. My parents only told me a few stories, but kept details to a minimum.
I thought as much. Do you remember the princess?
Yes, she died young though, right?
Kitrina nodded. Fuck,
Bitch.
sorry.
You're good. Katrina nodded and slowly made her way over to the table in the corner and sat down.
Did Leander ever tell you that we were all friends? Snuck around together and played games instead of going to our classes?
No, he didn't. I only knew that you two have been friends for a long time. Katrina, why are you asking me all of this? Tears shone in Katrina's eyes when she looked up at Avery, who had just finished putting their boots on.
I just don't want the same thing to happen to Icarus. Not that I'm worried about the king not caring about his well-being, but Icarus did go missing during the coronation, even though he was retrieved and is now safe. Princess Saffron, on the other hand, didn't come back when she was abducted. I guess I'm just worried. I want Icarus to have a good childhood in this castle. I don't want him to live in fear of his own father, or feel the need to sneak out of the castle, or do anything that Leander, Vivian, Saffron, and I had to do just to keep each other sane.
She wiped her eyes with her shirt sleeve.
I'm okay with taking the brunt of Bispy's Hulk-induced anger as long as it's not directed towards Icarus. I'm used to it.
You shouldn't have to. The knights jumped a little as Leander spoke up from where he was leaning against the doorframe.
Care to knock before you enter a room, Lee?
Kitrina half-heartedly teased. Ignoring the comment, Leander walked up and side-hugged Avery. You don't have to do everything yourself, Kitrina. You've got 2 other knights that have your back, okay?
I know, I just don't want you guys to get in trouble too, and...
Kitrina, you can't protect everyone all at once. Leander knelt in front of her chair and gently held her hands in his. Believe me when I tell you that I've tried. It never works. You just end up exhausting yourself and then you can't help anyone at all.
Mhm.
Would you like a hug?
Yeah, that'd be really nice, actually.
The 3 knights remained in a comforting group hug for what felt like forever, but not long enough, since Avery had to pull away first to begin their evening patrol on the kingdom.
And this is where it is after the
Slay!
lore that Bispy did with Marin.
Lord.
After the stream the other week.
I'm gonna go back to muted because of background noise. Thank you guys
Also,
so
Lily-
much.
Lily said, do it! I'm gonna fucking do it! Anyways.
Volt, do you want me to take over narrating, or are you good still?
I am
Yeah,
good either
sure.
way,
Yes,
that is up
actually,
to you.
Actually, please, can Bippy narrate this one?
Yeah, but
Alright, I'll
but hold
narrate
on,
this one, I got
Valk,
you.
Valk, still do any Leander and Avery lines, please.
Oh, yes, please,
Slay.
actually.
Alright.
Yeah.
Both Kitrina and Leander awoke in the guards' quarters to the sound of their communicators pinging. Bispy. All knights report to the throne room immediately.
Ah, shit.
Leander cursed.
This early in the morning? Really?
This better be important.
Kitrina agreed as the 2 of them hastily got dressed. Avery had been up for a little while, apparently, and waited at the door for his companions. All 3 rushed into the throne room, standing side by side as they bowed to the king, who was sitting idly on his throne. He adjusted the crown on his head as he addressed them. Do you know why I called you all here this morning?
Has something happened, sir?
Leander asked. Oh, you could say that. A smile started to spread across Bispy's face. The guards all exchanged confused looks. Last night, Bispy rose and began pacing along the platform the throne sat upon. I did something that none of you have yet been able to do for me. I arrested someone.
Did you finally capture the fugitive?
Avery spoke tentatively. Bispy glared at him, but continued. Unfortunately, no. But I have succeeded in eliminating quite a large distraction for my son. Let's just say that Icarus will no longer be seeing Marin from now on. All 3 of the knights stared at the king in shock.
You arrested Marin?
Leander exclaimed, taking a brave step forward.
But they haven't done anything wrong. Not to mention that he's the main provider of the entire kingdom's food supply.
King Bispy raised an eyebrow. Are you questioning my judgment? Sir Leander, because I'll be happy to have you join them if you are. Leander shook his head and took a step back. That's what I thought. Now, this is an entirely classified situation, so if I catch wind of any of you telling anyone else about this, especially Icarus, then you know what the consequences are.
You did this in retaliation, didn't you?
Kitrina muttered. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. What did you say? Bispy said in a patronizing tone as he teleported right in front of her. Kitrina lifted her gaze from the ground.
Icarus disobeyed you. So he threw his boyfriend in prison. Sorry, someone walked by.
You're good. An astute observation, Kitrina. He leaned in a little closer. I am a man of my word, after all. Is there anything else you would like to comment on? Kitrina returned to looking down at the skull-covered floor. Okay then! Bispy clapped his hands together and teleported back to his throne. There is just one more thing I need to mention before I let you three go. I will be the only one going down to visit Marin. None of you are permitted to take food or water or talk to them in any way. Is that understood? The knights nodded in unison. Good, good. Well then, I'll let you go about your duties. Have a lovely day, you three. I'll be watching. No one in the room missed the threatening tone in Bispy's voice.